think for me that customer advocacy as a concept, we definitely need to, it's definitely changed. A lot of businesses are now going through customer-led growth because it's a really important way to drive your business forward, increase that NRR or ARR, and also give that visibility to any potential customers coming in as to who you're working with. But for me, advocacy is a partnership. It's between you and your customer. It's not just about you getting new leads and referrals and great stories. It's about a partnership, and you kind of want to ensure that they're at the heart of it. They need to feel what they're achieving through your partnership with them, whether that's a product or a service. You're just there to bring it to life, but everything has to be around the customer. But you need to define it. You need to define what the playbook is. Marketing will be looking at it maybe from a logo or brand perspective, like this is a great brand, great logo, can we expose them a little bit more to win more business? But actually you need to circle that back around as to what's important for us as an organisation, but also for our customers. It can be the smallest customer, but has the biggest story to share that could make the difference, or it could be the biggest customer with a small story. I think it needs to be led by customer success, right? They know the sentiment of their customer on a day-to-day basis. I think from a personal level, for me, it's two things, right? It's recognition internally with your organisation. It's a great thing that you've got your customers to be an advocate. Senior leadership, executive will go, great, what a great story, he's doing a great job with his customers. He's a safe pair of hands. But for you personally as well, and for me, and this is how I take it, is you're helping your customer. And I'm an individual, I like to help people, and I like to help people get to their end goal. And then for them to turn around and go, hey, thanks for getting us to this place, and what a great journey that we've been on. That's better recognition, that your customer feels that you're a safe pair of hands. But you can look at advocacy in so many different ways and what it means to you, but for me it's those two. It's internal recognition, but recognition from your customer goes a long way. I've always believed that the customer success team should always have control over whether their customer is referenceable or is an advocate, because they'll know the ins and outs, right? They're the closest to the customer on a day-to-day level. They'll know what the current sentiment is. Are they having difficulties with your platform or service? You will know the stakeholder map as well. You'll be able to use customer health playbooks to understand where they sit currently as a sentiment with you as a business. Top three. One would definitely be helping customers understand that advocacy is about them and not just about you. That's why you bring them into your framework and showcase it. How you go about that, walk them through it, make sure they're front and center, make sure they're happy and confident with what you're delivering and that what we can deliver as an outcome. That's certainly one. I think managing expectations internally with your team about if you've got a book of business with some great logos and some great brands, and they're constantly pushing back on, hey, we need them to be an advocate. Ensure that your engagement with your customer detail why they're not at that level yet. Your customer health score is a really good indication of that. So managing expectations internally. And then finally, getting your customers to be an advocate. It is tough. It's not an easy thing to do, and it does take time. I know, for example, I took a customer to a value story, a business transformation story. It took me 11 months to do that. And it's just remembering it's not instantaneous. You may have some customers that are already there, great, quick wins, low-hanging fruit, but a real challenge is getting those customers that maybe are not in a great place to get them to advocacy. That's a big challenge. And you can do that by making sure that you're continuously engaging with your customers and ensuring that you're aligned to their outcomes. So tracking those initiatives is certainly a good starting point. You actually need to detail to cover what's in it for them. Actually describe and visualize what's in it for them as individuals. We're working with customer champions, executives, stakeholders, sponsors within our customers, and every level of, contact that you're working with will have a different outcome. So I've broken it down into three, what's in it for them categories, which is, one is for your brand, right? For them as a brand, as an organization, the great work that you're doing with your partner in the SaaS or service space, showcasing their successes and deployment and being that kind of go-to business that's making a big transformational change. It's expanding the awareness across their own customers and their brands in their own industry. It's a great way for them as an organization to be the thought leader in what they're doing. I guess as well, you can break it down into the team that you're working with, showcase their expertise in their field. So as a team, they've achieved, through a case study, they've achieved X amount of annual revenue savings or time savings by using your product or service. And it's an opportunity for them to expand their network, to show what else they're doing with your product or service. And most importantly, and I learned this from a previous chief customer officer, is that your customers actually just want to be rock stars too. It's a bit corny, right? But if you can get your champion to boost their own personal brand with your organization as a partnership, the ongoing results that you'll have with that customer is exponential, right? They're expanding their own professional network. They're getting serious recognition from their executives internally, which therefore boosts them. It then boosts their team, but also boosts their business. So many times in the past, advocacy has been seen as, hey, I need a reference call, or have you got a case study? Bring the customer in, let them talk about their story, let them talk about why they deployed your product or service, how they got to the value, maybe some of the challenges they've overcome by using your product or service. Look, take the heavy lifting, ensure that message is clear to your customer, that you do the heavy lifting with your marketing team, but bring them in, allow them to have some input into their story, and partner with them. Partner with your marketing team and your... Yeah, I mean, certainly leverage your customer success platform or the way you track your customers. I'm sure many customer success teams will be working with a customer health score. Great if they're, let's use the red, amber, green. If they're green, most likely be an advocate for you. Understand what value they've achieved with you as an organization, because that forms part of your story. They're the really good nuggets of information. List this out in front of your customer. Make sure that it aligns with their story. Again, bringing them back in to the center of their own story. Bring it to life, and then bring your marketing team into play. You can then start to explore what type of advocacy options are around that. It might be that this particular customer in this example, they're green, we've achieved high amounts of value with them, outcomes, whether that's financial or time saving. They might want to do a case study. It's more control, more targeted, because we can target their industry, and the customer's got more control as to what's written. And your marketing team will write that, but they'll make any changes. Or it might be that you want them to join a webinar or a live event that sits in a different quadrant, which really hits on the more exposure and high credibility. Right, so there's four real drivers for customer advocacy: is control, is exposure, it's credibility, and it's targeted. So as a step by step, first understand their health score, understand whether you've got a champion in place that's willing to partner with you and champion your product or your business or your service, and identify what value you've achieved with them, all the way up from your champion to your executive. That is the foundation of a great customer advocate. I've given 8 examples here as to what advocacy looks like. Right, there's product council. They can join your product board or product council, and they can influence your product or service. Great. And as well as logo or their name on your website, that's control, because the customer's got control over that, and it's high exposure. That sits in the top left, and then you can look at the exposure and credibility, like we said before, around webinar or live event, or even a customer blog, a regular customer blog. real high credibility, highly exposed. And then we can look at high credibility and more targeted, which is maybe a live podcast with your CEO or chief customer officer, or there's a quote on your website, again, another quadrant. And then you look at the control and targeted, which is a case study and your age-old peer-to-peer call. Please don't call them reference calls, call them a peer-to-peer call, because it's not just about you gaining a reference, it's about those customers connecting with other customers in their industry to highlight the successes that they've had. So it's a peer-to-peer call. That's kind of the quadrant framework, but most importantly, put your customer's experience right at the center of that. Let them decide how they want to be an advocate, because there may be guidelines. I think customers personally, like I do, they understand visually. So actually bring it on screen, this presentation, and say, hey, look, you've agreed to provide us a case study. Okay, what does that look like? Why would you want to do that? How will we do that? And where will we do that? So it's the what, why, how, and where. So for a case study, for example, it's a short written document that details your story and the successes that you've achieved. Pretty simple, right? Why do that? Promote them within their industry peers, internally with their organization. So it really puts the brand focus around that. And how you do it, it might be a 1 hour meeting with your customer success manager and your marketing team. So your marketing team can really understand the story and the value outcomes. They will then go away and write that case study up. And where some people like to do video case studies, it could be on customer site, it could be online, it could be quite simply just face-to-face, just writing down all these value outcomes, but take control of that case study and make sure that your customer is happy with that. So the what, why, how, and where is really important for customers so they know what they're kind of signing up to. Track your initiatives and value with your customer from day one. Quite simply, if you track that with them through your engagements and they can see visually that you've achieved certain value outcomes and you've achieved certain initiatives that they're looking to work on, you'll know the right time when to ask them to be part of the advocacy program. It's really, that's how I do it, tracking those initiatives through to completion and then breaking value down into what they want to achieve and what they have achieved. And if what they have achieved outweighs your expected, then you're in a great place. And the customer asking that question for them to be an advocate should be straightforward.